All right, let's just jump right in. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to dive into the surprisingly complex, but totally universal, building blocks of telling time. We check the time, dozens, maybe hundreds of times a day, usually without even a second thought. But right now, we're actually going to slow down and completely deconstruct the exact visual anatomy of the analog clock. Actually, take a second and really think back. Do you remember how you first learned to read time? Try to tap into that nostalgic, kind of shared human experience of being a kid, sitting at a desk, trying to decode this strange blank circle just filled with numbers and arrows. It's almost like a second language we all had to master, right? And it turns out the way we learn this language relies on a very specific, brilliant visual logic. Which brings us to Section 1, Building Your Own Clock. So take a look at this brilliantly stripped-down framework from our source material. It's simply titled My Clock. And what we have here is literally a blank face. You've got these empty square boxes spaced perfectly around the edge, just waiting for numbers, and two unattached hands resting right at the bottom. It's a total deconstruction. Honestly, it's not just a drawing, it's practically an engineering schematic for a beginner. And the instructions provided are just a perfect step-by-step physical exercise in building a functional tool literally from scratch. First, you enter the numbers 1 through 12 into those empty boxes. Next, you get to color the clock, kind of personalizing the whole shebang. And finally, you physically cut out and paste the hour and minute hands onto that center dot. It really forces the learner to actively participate in, assembling the mechanics of time. Now, the absolute crucial point is right here at the bottom. Look at those two arrows. This is basically our visual anchor for this entire explainer. Notice how the source explicitly color codes these tools to completely eliminate any confusion. We've got a shorter hand that is solid red, that's our hour hand, and a longer hand that is bright blue, our minute hand. Red for the slow, steady hours, and blue for the fast, sweeping minutes. Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering via Clock. Okay, before we get into the weeds with complex fractions of time, we absolutely have to master the o'clock. And the fundamental rule for whole hours is just incredibly visual. Whenever that long blue arrow, remember our minute hand, is anchored straight up at the very top of the circle, pointing dead center at the 12, boom, we have reached an o'clock moment. It's the top of the hour. The slate is wiped clean. So let's treat this like a little interactive play-along game. Just scan across these diverse clock faces we've pulled from the source worksheets. Look at how often that blue arrow points straight up to the sky. And here's the trick. Whenever you see that blue arrow pointing true north, you don't even need to think about the minutes. You immediately know for sure it's a whole hour. Your brain just has to look for the red arrow to tell you exactly which hour. Let's test that rule right now on this specific set of exercises. Just watch the progression here. Notice how the long blue arrow stays completely fixed, pointing right at the 12 in every single circle. Meanwhile, the short red hour hand marches steadily clockwise. First, it points to the 4 for 4 o'clock. Drop down a box, and it points to the 6 for 6 o'clock. Over on the right, we see it hit 5 o'clock and then 7 o'clock. It's like the blue hand is the anchor, and the red hand tells the story. All right, Section 3, the half-past challenge. Now look at the specific visual differences here that really elevate the challenge for a learner. First off, the terminology itself completely changes. We're no longer saying o'clock, now it's half past. Second, the visual anchor totally shifts. That long blue minute hand drops all the way from the top to point straight down to the bottom, right at the 6. It literally represents a half-circle journey. And finally, and honestly, this is the trickiest part for a beginner, the short red hour hand doesn't point directly at a number anymore. It floats, kind of hovering halfway between two numbers. So let's apply this. Check out this worksheet from the source material. Quick rhetorical question for you. Where exactly is the blue arrow pointing now? On the bottom left and bottom right clocks? It's definitely no longer pointing up at the 12, is it? Nope, it's pointing straight down. I want to guide your eyes directly to these two specific examples to see this in action. On the bottom left, the blue hand is pointing down, and the short red hand has physically moved past the 6, hovering right between the 6 and the 7. That, my friends, is half past 6. On the bottom right, again, the blue hand points straight down, and the red hand has moved halfway past the 9. This so brilliantly physicalizes the passing of 30 minutes. It shows time not just as a static number, but as an actual physical distance traveled across a circle. And that brings us to Section 4, putting it all together. This worksheet right here perfectly represents the final test. It brilliantly mixes whole hours and half hours side by side, so the learner can't just rely on easy pattern recognition anymore. They are literally forced into the active application of both cognitive rules simultaneously. Look at the top left, blue arrow pointing down, red arrow past the 12. That's half past 12. Then look at the top right, blue arrow straight up, red arrow directly on the 9. That's 9 o'clock. They have to mentally switch gears with every single problem. So to summarize this beautiful, incredibly logical progression we've seen in the source material, the red arrow gives us our specific hour, the blue arrow gives us our minutes past. If the blue arrow is at the top, it's an o'clock, and if the blue arrow is down at the bottom, well, it's a half past. This totally simple, highly visual color coding takes a blank circle with a few tiny lines and turns it into an absolutely indispensable, universal tool for organizing human life. Which really brings us to a final thought. I mean, we live in an age where the time is constantly handed to us, right? Just instant digital numbers glowing on our screens. 10:30, 4 o'clock. It requires absolutely zero decoding. But does the spatial visual logic of the analog clock still matter for how we fundamentally understand the passing of time? Does seeing that physical distance traveled across a circle give us a better sense of how much of our day is actually gone and how much is still left? It's a pretty fascinating question to ponder. Next time you glance at a digital screen to check the time, ask yourself if you're really feeling the weight of those minutes passing, the way you do when you watch that red and blue arrow sweep across the face of a clock. Thanks so much for exploring this visual logic with me today.